Okay, so now we know that we've got neurons that have dendrites and axons, and these axons are going to be wrapped in a myelin sheath made by neuroglial cells called oligodendrocytes in our central nervous system and Schwann cells in our peripheral nervous system. Now, um, when we categorize the nervous system, we can also look at nerves that have myelin that were created by the glial cells, and we have other areas of our nervous system that do not have myelin. So, Handout 12D is going to look at myelination, and we're going to look at myelinated areas of our nervous system compared to unmyelinated. So, in order to do this, we're going to look at our handout 12D, and that's going to discuss this topic. So, let's go to it. Okay, so here is our handout, the top of our handout, and you've probably heard the term gray matter and white matter when referring to our brain. What this is talking about is the different myelination. So we have two kinds of matter in the brain, right? We have white matter and we have gray matter. They have different functions and different purposes, and they are affected by this myelin. So it says white matter are bundles of axons, so bundles of neurons with axons that are myelinated. So those oligodendrocytes have myelinated the tissue, creating white matter. Now, it's really easy to think of this because the white matter, those myelinated, insulated neurons, are going to be the highways to move action potentials. So our action potentials are going to move back and forth through the central nervous system via white matter. So the white matter is the highways. Now, gray matter are unmyelinated neurons. So those neurons that have no myelin are called unmyelinated or gray matter. So it says they are clusters of neuron cell bodies without myelination. Now, this is also important because these areas that do not have myelin are not going to be highways moving information from one place to another. Rather, they are going to be like computer centers. They're going to be integration centers. They're going to be processing information, deciding what to do with it. So your gray matter are going to be decision-making parts of your central nervous system rather than highways. So it says they are integration centers. They're going to process, organize information, and then send it somewhere else via the myelin. Now, another thing that's important to understand is that we have both white matter and gray matter in the brain and the spinal cord. Remember, I told you that these two structures are contiguous with one another anyway. They are going to be really essentially the same thing. So gray matter in the brain is going to be kind of along the cortex, so the outer surface of the brain. These are the unmyelinated integration processing centers. And in the spinal cord, gray matter forms kind of like a H shape or a butterfly shape that is more centralized. These are going to be processing centers. Our spinal cord can process information along with our brain. So our brain and spinal cord are doing this processing together. A lot of people think of your spinal cord as just a highway to move information. Well, yeah, see, the white matter is going to be the highway, but we also have integration and processing centers with the gray matter. Same thing with our brain. The highways are going to be the white matter. The gray matter is going to be the processing centers. Okay, so that is handout 12D. And now we're going to move on to a little bit of review with action potentials so that you can review and remember some of the things we talked about with electrical currents.